நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதா? நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதா? ஹவுஸ் இல்லையா? அட பாவிகளா. ஹலோ 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 ஹலோ
செலக்ட் பண்ணி பாருங்க யூடியூப்ல எடிட் வீடியோன்னு போட்டு அன்னைக்கு கூட தான் அந்த இது கவுண்டிங் கொடுத்தேன்.
லைவ் ஸ்ட்ரீம் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடவா இருக்கட்டுமா? என்னோட
கூகுள் மீட் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டீங்க?
இல்ல இப்ப நான் பண்ணேன். ஹலோ 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 எந்த டெஸ்டாப்? நான் டெஸ்டாப் ஆஃப் பண்ணாம வச்சிருக்கேன். இதை ஆஃப் பண்ணுமா?
கீழே ரெண்டு
என்னாச்சு? நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதா? கேக்குதுல்ல? இப்ப நான் இதுல மியூட் போட்டேன். நான் என்எஸ்எஸ் மியூட் போட்டேன். அப்பனா உங்களுக்கு டெஸ்டாப் ஆடியோ கேட்காதுல்ல? இல்ல அவர் பேசுறது தானே கேட்கணும். இப்ப கேட்காதுல்ல, இப்ப நான் பேசுறேன்ல.
மொபைல் சார்ஜர் இருக்காங்க.
அந்த கேபிள்
அபிஷேக் அபிஷேக் Shanbaramya, uh, Sir has joined now. You can start the program.
Okay, sir. A pleasant morning to one all virtually gathered here. Really glad to greet you all for this session. Hope everyone is safe. Firstly, wishing you all a very happy NSS day. I wish you all a great success and happiness in your life. Be determined in your goals and help the needy. Serve the society with utmost care. Never forget our threes: dedication, hard work, and involvement. Education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow, it belongs to those who prepare it for today. And now we are here for a webinar on the title Decoding the New National Education Policy 2020, organized by our NSS Club. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry fest. So I welcome Mr. Ashwin, second year CSE, to give a cordial welcome address.
Good morning, one and all. It's pleasure to start this auspicious occasion by heartily welcoming everybody. I deem it a great privilege bestowed upon me to stand amidst you welcoming one and all for this national level webinar on Decoding the New National Educational Policy 2020 by National Service Scheme. Amidst us, we have such inspiring personality, Dr. G.Janardhanan, M.E Ph.D. USA, who had battled against all odds and such the pinnacle of success. We are very fortunate to have him within us this morning and as the chief guest. I extend an affordable welcome to you, dear sir. The more you take responsibility of yours and present, the more of you are able to create the future you seek. The courage to make tough decisions and comparison, to listen to the need of others. As an art of director, I extend a gracious inclusive welcome to our respected director, Dr. Sri Shanmugavel. It's your sense of commitment which creates an apt platform for us to grow. Your merging of minds, we welcome you, sir. I'm happy to send us a scuba welcome to our principal, Dr. K. Kalidas Murugavel. He is highly passionate about uplifting the downtrodden. It's a dynamic personality and led us to high glories by his definite guidance and concern. We jubilantly welcome you, sir. The venue has been highlighted by radiant presence of our dean heads of various departments, faculty members. It is our ardent pleasure to welcome all, sir. I am grateful Dr. opportunity. Once again, we welcome you all on this day when the nature greets you brightly.
Thank you, Ashwin, for your soulful welcome. A good introduction leads to boundless communication. So I welcome Ms. Karpalashmi, third year IT, to deliver a brief introduction to chief guest.
It's a glad welcome we bring to you this morning, filled with the desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. It's a great honor for me to introduce and welcome our today's chief guest, Dr. Janardhanan Ganga Tulasi, Associate Professor and Head, Center for Environmental Management, National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chennai. He has completed his bachelor degree in civil engineering and master degree in social mechanics and foundation engineering from College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University. He completed his doctorate from University of Illinois, USA, specializing in geo-environmental engineering. He is an associate professor in Center for Environmental Management, NITTR, Chennai, geo-environmental engineer, Tennessee, USA, lecturer and teaching research associate in Department of Civil Engineering, Anna University. He is also an expertise in green building technologies, water quality management, sustainable development, geographical information system, educational technologies, and force of academies. He had conducted programs like international training courses, faculty development program, and industry training program. His research expertise include 12 international journals, 18 international and national conferences, and he got guided 18 M.E theses at College of Engineering, Guindy and Anna University, Chennai. He was awarded with Youth Engineer Award on 2012. He was the first Indian recipient of the award, Geotechnical Award on 2006. His contribution include membership in American Society of Civil Engineers and American Society of Engineering Educations. He is also a member of national and international committees. He guided more than 150 project theses of overseas professionals were guided in the area of sustainable development, green environment, integrated water quality analysis, and technologies for green buildings. It's my privilege to give an introductory speech about you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, KP, for your amazing intro. No more delays. Let's get into the webinar. I hand over the session to the Honorable Chief Guest.
Good morning, a warm good morning to one and all present here, and it's my pleasure always to join with the National Engineering College Kovilpatti, and because warm greetings to Professor Shanmugavel sir and a complete team, because I had a very great experience at Kovilpatti. Amazed by the infrastructure and the commitment by the faculty members. Even some faculty members who are there, they now joined PhD at IIT Delhi. Still, they are in touch with us with in terms of pedagogy, in terms of technical. So it's a good association what we had with NEC. 6 batches of training program at one stretch we had, and it was a really pleasant experience for me, and also enjoyed the wonderful Kadala Mittai of Kovilpatti. So that is it. Today we will just share the concepts and views on the national education policy. As Dampa sir was asking, it was good because I have developed more than 20 to 23 videos are available. Now few videos we are modifying because in the draft there were some discussions, and in the final there were other discussions. So based on that we were making some changes in the video. I will be maybe sharing those videos maybe a week or so to link with them. So basically I focus on how the technology aspect is used in the national education policy, how the higher education aspect has been taken into consideration, and also how the national mission on mentoring. Now the government of India is focusing the hand-holding of young faculty members. If you want to make a country, if you want to develop the country, or if you want to develop or transform the system, hand-holding of young generation is very much is need of them. So before starting, I will share my screen. I will share my screen with you guys. Maybe I will share my screen, and the PowerPoint is also there. I will share the PowerPoint. Okay, I will share the screen. Before that, I just want to Shanbaga Ramya, I am just sharing my screen. You are presenting. I am taking over the screen from you. Okay, yes, I got it. You stop sharing. Yes, no problem. I will share. Okay, just today we are going to discuss about, we are going to decode. What way we are going to decode? It's going to be a more on the sharing my views and thoughts, and how it is this policy is going to transform the country to the betterment. Because let's see the off glass water. That is my perspective always, rather than seeing the empty glass. Because we can have an opportunity to fill the water with the glass could be filled with water. So I always question: is it doing things better or doing better things? That is the question which we have to answer. Because doing things better or doing better things, that plays an important role. Now, even though I am from a civil engineering, now I am working with the Center for International Affairs, Center for Curriculum Development Planning and Implementation. So in this lecture, the content expressed are purely my technical perspective. It does not represent the organization to which I am affiliated. If you observe the National Education Policy 2020, so the main aim of this policy is to bring the access and equity. As mentioned in the earlier policies, access and equity are very, very important aspects which we are focusing. So I have shown up a group of pencils, a colorful, wonderful pencils of a different color. So India is a country with a wide variety of culture, with good language, wealth, and people of different caste, creed, and ethnic. Everything is different. So in such situation, when we focus on education, because if you observe the policy clearly, it tells the strong or the powerfulness of the Indian education system, which was existing. Nalanda, Tashkila, they have quoted, and Kanchipet, also one of the good education which was there. But they have also focused over a period, we lost the charm and warmth, maybe due to various reasons. In such situation, how to restore or how to glorify our system, which has been followed by the developed countries at present. If you take any US universities or German universities, it is multidisciplinary in nature. It is multidisciplinary in nature. For example, University of Illinois, where I had a chance to meet Professor Shanmugavel sir during his visit. So if you see the laboratory of civil and environmental, we were around 8 research scholars were there at the time. With 8 research scholars, out of 6 people were working with the problem which was existing in the University of Illinois medical campus. Because the medical campus, there were some issues were there. They were working on the providing a solution. One of the structural engineer student was working on a stability strength of the gym machine, that exercise machine for the physically disadvantaged person, the physically challenged person. Because all the practical problem which they face, because it was multidisciplinary in nature. It was not like a compartmentalized train, it has been connected train, so that the value chain of the research and subject expertise were shared. And if you observe in University of Illinois Civil Department, the faculty member who teaches mathematics to the undergraduate were from the civil department. So connectivity was there. So there is existing, the line of difference exists always. The line of difference exists. This policy basically wants everyone to bring to the minimum standard line. There are some states who are having a maximum gross enrollment ratio, like state of Tamil Nadu. We have already in a good position. There are few states are there, but there are few states they are behind. We cannot live, because this is the state which has given several policy to the education. Midday meal scheme came from the state of Tamil Nadu. Because education, because the right to education, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, what we call RUSA, everything, it has been because the midday noon concept, which was very popular, which increased the gross enrollment ratio. All credit goes to our former chief ministers who made it possible, and who made it the school education from a different perspective. So the main aim of the National Education Policy 2020 is access and equity, and it is to bring to the minimum standard required. Some may be ahead, no problem, fantastic. They are competing with the global situation. But I want to bring all my other brothers and sisters to meet the minimum standard. That is a major focus of this policy. So before starting, because when we come to NEP, each one is having a different perspective, because our awareness depends upon the media. Media projects in a different people, because since we have a freedom of speech, with sense, without sense, all nonsense could be spoken, because that is our common sense. Because that is the way which we attribute in all the issues and everything. And nowadays, mobile phones are also available, and data package is also very cheaper. So I can record everything, I can upload it, I can share to the 10 WhatsApp group also, I can share. That's a system which exists. But as a rational society, because National Education Policy talks about bringing rational in thought, which was brought in the state of Tamil Nadu. We were rational in thought because we have a habit of questioning. We were the first state to remove several this thing. That's all amazing thing which we did. That's a different. So let me put a quiz on the Menti quiz. I request the participants to go to menti.com. If you have a browser, in a mobile phone or in a computer, if you're watching this web lecture, open one more browser, either Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Safari, whatever the browser, web browser you go to menti.com. Menti.com. You go to menti.com. You go to menti.com and type the code 2759929. 27599 and 29. You just type the code, and I'm just opening in your opinion. Okay, I'll just open the Menti this thing. Let me present it. Okay, in your opinion, NEP, the current NEP, whether it will transform our education system. In your opinion, whether our new NEP, whether it will transform our education system. That is the question. Maybe one person has answered. Okay, obviously by default several people have to go to yes. 3 people have answered. So in your opinion, whether our new education policy, whether new education policy will transform our education system, because no comments. That is also good answer. 2 people have told why to unnecessarily comment. Let me keep, because in Corona period, let me put the mask. Not only for everything, let me put the mask for this question also. But don't worry, I won't get the name of the people who are answering. It is anonymous poll. You can put no also, yes also, no comment also. Just I want to have the perspective of the audience, because to engage you, around 52 members are there. Maybe I can shut my video so that the data usage may be less, because now last week I was attending a policy meeting we were focusing on. Even the teachers are not willing to sit for 4 hours in adult programs or anything, because I have seen in some courses the people are keep on calling, come to the courses. In such situation, but we expect the students to watch 4 hours in the online. So now we are radically changing the way in which the classroom has to change. Let me be frank and opinion free, sir. Don't worry, name will not come, and I am not going to take it. Even if you record, you can edit this quote alone. In your opinion, whether this NEP will transform our education system. So 11 people have answered, and 8 to yes and 3 no comments. So let me, because 52 people are there, in any system only 10 to 20% will not work, because remaining 80% should contribute, or 80% will not work, 20% will contribute. So as per the Google statistics, around 53 candidates are 52 candidates are there, excluding my 2. 50 at least. I need to get at least 20, a decent number. In your opinion of NEP, whether it will transform our education system. 13 people have answered. I am happy who all answered, because just engage and just see how you will go to menti.com. I have told go to menti.com. I will put it in the chat also, sir. Go to menti.com, use the code. Yes, someone is asking. Mohammed Anifa is asking. Okay, from EIA. Okay, go to menti.com. Use the code 27599229. 59929. Okay. So, in your opinion, whether NEP will transform our education system? That is the question, because you have to see the only 13 people have answered. I don't know why the less participants, maybe others, maybe 14. Okay. Now, no comments are equally going good. 50-50. You remember, yes is 10 and 55 is 50% is no comments. So they don't want to get into any content. But don't worry, your name will not be there, because I am not collecting your name, not IP address, nothing is says. It just needs a poll, and poll to engage, and poll to just get the view. For that doesn't mean that you should tell the different answer. You can be open and you can tell. So I request the participants to be engaging. I just want them to engage. So, okay, 19 people. With 1 people, I will make a time countdown. Maybe I will start the countdown. Maybe 1. This voting will close in 57 seconds. Okay, whether maybe the question I have to paraphrase it. In your opinion, whether this NEP will transform the system? Because some might be having, because huge controversy was there, the system was there, maybe. So that is the reason. You might have seen several WhatsApp videos of several this thing. Okay, 20 people have told. But you have to remember, in any reforms of education system, who's at the center? The teachers are at the pivotal or center point, because teachers is the center of the fundamental reforms, especially in the education system. Because this education system is going to get re-established only with the teachers at all levels, let it be school level or at college level. They are the main source to help us to redefine, to make the next generation of learners. That is the main aspect. Class letter, madam. The class letter. So that is the first aspect. Okay, let me go to the second. In your opinion, what component need to be emphasized in the policy? Because you might have come across a policy. I have given a call, you can type it, because in the policy, this is a needed, sir. If you have read the policy, no problem. If you didn't read the policy also, just in your opinion, based on this thing, now you might have come across, or you might have past debates are going on. I'm making you to type what thing has to come, because so what opinion, what component need to be emphasized in the policy, what component need to be emphasized in the teacher policy. You can just put it. You can just put it. You can just put it, because now we call it in terms of digital education. Several things we are focusing. No problem. You can just and what policy, what aspect need to be focused in this current policy. That is there. I have my question. So, okay, some people have written digital education, jobs and skill, teacher education. Someone has written GD. What they mean by GD? I don't know. GD. I don't know. GD, self-reliance, fantastic. Employability, knowledge. Employability is a good. Okay, job and skill, employability, self-reliance. Yes. He has to be self-reliant. Digital education. Several people might have told digital education. That is the reason it is coming very big. The people who comment more will come in the bigger form. So knowledge, equality, self-reliance, socio-economic status. Yes, of course, because the learning needs to result in earning. Because if you see the spelling of learning, L-E-A-R-N, learn, I-N-G. If you remove L, earning is there. E-A-R-N-I-N-G, earning. So your earning depends upon your learning. So if your earning need to increase, you have the learning with love, L, love, so that your learning will be, because it is not directly proportional, but still we believe if you want to have more earning, more learning has to be there. That is something. Okay, job and skill, correct. Skill development, fantastic. Self-reliance, job, skill, practical knowledge. Yes, skill, practical knowledge, more or less several people are having the same opinion. Digital education, digital learning, wonderful. Self-reliance. Current education system is not providing self-reliance. That is the reason. They are having a fear factor, because the number of suicides among the youngsters is increasing because of they think that is the end of the world. That is the problem. Self-reliance has to be there. Application oriented. Fantastic. Application oriented. That's a good word. Application oriented. Practical knowledge. Yes, practical knowledge. Practice has to be there. Yes. You providing the theory, but provide as a practice. Fantastic. You provide as a practice. That is the need of the hour. That is the need of the hour. That is the need of the hour. If you observe, my dear friends, in this policy clearly wants to take the old heritage with us, the rich heritage of ancient and eternal India together. The knowledge need to be taken into this thing. Like a pursuit of happiness, there was a movie. Similar, the pursuit of knowledge. Not only the knowledge we focus, we also focus on the wisdom. That is the reason now the national mission on mentoring is coming. Because the senior people have a good wisdom. They will guide the youngsters. They will give the hand-holding of the youngsters. Government of India already brought a wonderful program known as a LEAP, Leadership Program in Academic Professionals. So if you want a leadership, you have to get nurtured by the good people, either by foreign people or Indian people. Now LEAP is in a different form. India 10 days, and you can go to abroad sometime days. So that is it. Okay. Knowledge, job, skill, application oriented. Teacher education. Okay, someone has told teacher education also. Equitable education. Yes, equitable education. Inclusion. Equitable education. Because our policy crux itself access, the cardinal principle of our education policies, access, equity and quality, sir. Access, equity and quality. Because we always think the pursuit of knowledge, pursuit of wisdom and truth are the base for this thing. That is the philosophy. That is the highest human goal which our value system is. So that way we have to work on it. Because previously heritage we were telling about Tashkila, Nalanda, Vikramashila, Vallabhi and other high standards of multidisciplinary research universities. Now what we see in abroad is multidisciplinary universities. Multidisciplinary universities. There is no isolated packet. There is no isolated packet. There is no compartmentalized education here. For example, University of, because we call it as a liberal arts, there we call liberal arts. So that is there, that is there. Okay, 17 people have told, maybe last time 20. Someone has told DGE, I don't know what he mean by it is value education. Correct, value education is also known as ethics, human values, value education, all those things comes under entrepreneurship. Some people have told entrepreneurship, that's also good. Let me start the countdown. So countdown so that it will be difficult. Okay. Okay. Maybe I will wind up the quiz because just I want to warm up. This is like a warm up questions. I just want to take your view. Everyone is having a view. A few are having a no comment perspective. Some are having yes. This let us see, because without seeing I cannot tell by hair. I want to visualize because it has its own roadmap. Because now the policy is only released. Now we have to make an implementation strategy. Because yesterday Monday we had a very massive meeting with all the vice chancellors. All the vice chancellors, maximum from southern regions, we have 12 vice chancellors. We want to get the views of national mission on mentoring. Full day, one day, because today also there is a lecture by professional and technical education. People are arranging on national education policy. Okay, the voting is closed, and let me look into it. Entrepreneurship is a good word. Employability, equitable education, leadership, everything the people have told. Amazing. Thanks for participating in the poll. I will just move on to this thing. So as some people have told yes, some people have no comment, and some people have told the digital education, because if you see during the COVID-19, the COVID-19 became a silver lining in the education system. Even NEP or NEC or any other colleges, Kovilpatti or anywhere, if the principal or anyone is asking us to do the digital education, it would have taken time, because you might have told no bandwidth problem, this problem, that problem. No, this during the COVID-19, it became a silver lining. So everyone started using the online education. So some people have told digital education. So let me put where we are heading. Now we have to remember at the current scenario, why there is a need of this policy document. This is a major crux. When now education institutions does not mean student will learn. That is the first thing which you have to remember. Because even though education institution, the people are enrolling, does not mean they are not. We don't know if they will learn. Learning does not mean the student will have a skill for the labor market. Because like ours, this thing, they're too much narrowed down, and they are not having a broader perspective. The current generation who are graduating, personally, I'm telling you, they don't have a broader perspective. Predominantly, I'm not telling all the colleges. And even when we conduct NITTR program, National Initiative of Technical Teacher Training Program, which is a mandatory program for the teachers less than 5 years, I have seen some people, the questions what they ask really makes us to wonder how it is not the question, it's a question of system. Because now education institution does not mean students will learn. Even learning does not mean the student will have a skill for the labor market, because the market is different now. We don't know. I never visualize my security guard will use the thermometer, infrared thermometer to measure the temperature every day before you enter into the campus. Security guard means I visualize only with lathi, torch and whistle. Now he has changed. The roles have changed. Responsibilities have changed. The work culture have changed. So that is the reason which you have to work on it. But not only the question of education institution, the learning does not mean the skill, but the skill does not mean the students will have a job. That is also very, very important, because even if I possess a skill, because of the volatile in the market, it is highly dynamic. We don't have a skill for that. Also, we have to take it. It's a more complex route. So, but we have to think: are we doing old things in a new way, or is it a new thing in a new way? Because when we quoted about Nalanda, Takshila, are we going to the old thing? But no, we are not going to the old thing. Let us embrace the good things which are available in the olden things. That is a fundamental crux we have to remember. We are not going to adopt the older ideas. We are going to take with the wisdom the good things from the old ideas, so that our new system could be rechanged. The new system could be modified. New system could meet the demand. That is very, very important aspects. Learning. The learning, because are we doing the old things in a new way, or is it a new thing? But we have to remember, this is the most important time to be in the education. This is the most important time to take care about the education. This is the most important time to impact the education. Because of the COVID, psychologically and physically, the students have been affected because of the COVID situation. In such scenario, I have to be focused. How best I have to focus on the concept of education. So the education institution, not only the job knowledge, but now the job knowledge is provided in the physical space and the learning space. Now it has transformed a lot. So there are challenges and solutions are there. We are trying to fit into the old problem, because the environmental science, one of the paper which has been introduced by the Supreme Court, the people to have the, because there are Hungerford model we call, Hungerford infusion model, diffusion model. So what government of India thought, okay, if you want to have environmental consciousness, let me bring a mandatory one environmental science subjects to the students. Let me bring one professional ethics subjects to the students. But the students will look the subject as a subject from the mark perspective, not from the knowledge perspective, because these are the subjects which have to touch your affective domain, not the cognitive domain. But unfortunately, fortunately, we are not transforming the affective domain. We are focusing only on the cognitive domain. So predominantly, we are focusing on the content knowledge. Our new education policy focus not only on the content knowledge. They want to make a guiding to make the content knowledge to a context knowledge. Focus on the context knowledge. That is very, very important aspect which you have to remember. So let us together explore the NEP 2020. But still, the students are blindfolded in the studies. They only need mark. They don't know about what exactly NEP wants to them to do and everything. But let me see. Where is the key? Key is the teachers. It is impossible to redesign a students to fit into a system, but we can redesign a system for the students, for the betterment of the country. So if you see the national education policy evolution, in the 1968, the first policy Kothari Commission releases, where it talks about the radical restructuring and equalizing educational opportunity. That was the first and foremost thing which the government of India has evolved. And later on, this policy made into 1986, the modified version, they were trying, but it is special emphasis on removal of disparities and equalized educational opportunities. And in turn, it get modified in the year 1992, where it is made into a common minimum program, because it is also subsequently we called this a right of a children to free, right to education, because previously there were Millennium Development Goals So they were providing zero hunger, poverty, quality education we were thinking. So education was one of the focus. But now in the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, we speak up because achieve primary education. That was the Millennium Development Goal. But in the Sustainable Development Goal, we were talking in terms of quality education. It is not the primary education alone that matters. It is a quality education that matters. In 1992, we brought the common minimum program, And we have also introduced the Compulsory Education Act 2009, Right to Education Act, right of children to get free, that was also introduced. These were the things which was in 2020. The NEP discussed about the curriculum content. You have to remember curriculum content to essentially change the learning pattern, because last month, the month of May, June, I was conducting a program to Safdarjung Hospital doctors. Around 100 doctors in online we were training. At the time we came across a case study known as a procedure, situational judgment, situational study or situational judgment we were focusing. What do you mean by situational studies or situational judgment? How you are going to behave during the situation, that is the situational judgment studies we are focusing. So the same, that time we are thinking that is very, very important and essential for the current scenario. So the current NEP focus on experiential learning, essential learning, critical thinking, more holistic experiential discussion based, analysis based learning. You have to remember that was a major focus on the current policy, and this current policy also focused to develop the good human being capable of rational thought. I told rational thought and action is very good in the state of Tamil Nadu. So the good human being capable of rational thought and action, possess compassion and empathy, because sometimes I used to sit in the parking lots and observe. If I go to any engineering college for training programs, I sit in the canteen, I sit in the common places and observe how the student behave. This has really happened. This is one of the very famous institutions in Tamil Nadu. I was just sitting in the parking lot during the break. I was just observing the wonderful nature. And a group of students were breaking their lock of some scooty, or maybe I don't know, Activa, scooty, something they were breaking. I was observing them. I was simply observing them, and I told them, after some time I was asking, why you are doing all those things? Because you are breaking the law. Whether you lost the key, no, it is not our vehicle. Then can't you feel your friend's vehicle? If you break, he might find it difficult. No, he has to feel. That is the reason we are breaking. I was wondering. And the act of wrongness, the 4 students were there. One student was not able to do the second. The third student who was completely locked this thing, when he made a stain, others are cheering up him. Where the system is ending, we were really worried, because the compassion and empathy is current day scenario, it is missing. Everyone want to self-centered. Self-centered is nothing wrong, but selfish is wrong. Self-centered is because you want to do your things, but your things will not harm others. That is acceptable. But if your things affect others, then it becomes selfish. Self-centered is not wrong. Selfish is wrong, because the compassion, empathy, that is emphasis on the current policy speaks. The current policy, the principle of the policy or the purpose of the policy wants to make a good human being with a rational thought and action, provide compassion and empathy. Not only compassion, courage and resilience, very, very important, resilience. In one of the sustainable goals, we call it as a resilient cities we want to make it. What is resilience? Chennai had a flood, Chennai had a Varda cyclone, but the Chennai city came back. Chennai city had a very, the entire country had a COVID. But Chennai city COVID, everyone are going back here, but we were coming back, because resilience is how quickly, how adaptable you are to come back to the original position. That you mean by resilience. So we want the students to have a courage. We want to have the students to resilient. If we fail, no problem. Failing is not the end of the world. You have to come back and we have to win the game, because some people would have been president, prime minister at the young age. Some people will take it at a later age. Not a big issue. It is not the question of age, it's not the question of latest, it's the question of your own passion and achievement. So that is also focused on the principle of this policy, the courage and resilience. It is not only the question of courage and resilience, it's a question of scientific temper and creative imagination. So we have to focus on the temper, scientific temper. You have to have, this is my problem, how to provide a scientific solution, how to improve the creativity, imagination. And finally, it also thinks one of the aspects of ethical mooring, because after the Bhuj earthquake, government of India has observed it is most of the building which is collapsed, not because of the magnitude of the earthquake, it is basically because of the ethical reason, because where this thing. So the sound ethical mooring, where you will park, because mooring, what do you mean by mooring? Because the place where the boat nicker, it's not anchoring, it is in the shore where it will put and tie and you will make the ship to stand. So the ethical mooring should be there, which value system should be there. We are not trying to make Ambi of this thing, that Vikram movie, but we want the students to have a good human being, good compassion and empathy. Empathy is different, sympathy is different. Sympathy means, I will tell you, Daya and Karuna. Because Karuna means when someone's problem, if you see, if you hear, oh, you feel compassion. That is a sympathy. Empathy means even before they tell you, come across a problem, you work on it by listening or hearing. Even when that is empathy, because that is Daya. Even before you tell your problem, we are providing Daya, Kripa, Daya, Niti. That is the neither. Because in gods we have a Daya Satakam. In Balaji, Tirumala Balaji, this is the month of Balaji. So they have a Daya Satakam. So because he is having such a empathy, that is compassion and empathy, courage and resilience, scientific temper and creative imagination, and sound ethical moorings. Because the current education system, we have this aspect. Now we are focusing on 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. There are some system of education which is going to get replaced or misplaced or displaced or going to get changed. For example, like a diploma education. There is no diploma education in the current national education policy. They are telling diploma education categorically, they mentioned it has to go to the vocational education. Diploma education comes under the higher education hereafter. Their policy document clearly tells. Because they want to move it to the vocational education, the skill. Because previously only the people who are after 10th pass were the skill. Now even if you have 6th pass, you come to the skill. Come, no problem. Because if you go to air stylist in US, he or she will be possessing a certificate to have the air cutting. Let us provide a decent salary, decent livelihood to everyone by empowering them and by streamlining and authorizing or making it regularizing the knowledge what they possess. That is a regularization is very, very important, which is available in US. That you have to remember. Even my lab assistant who was there in the soil mechanics geotechnical in University of Illinois, he was not possessing the basic degree, but he got the skill after practicing and coming out. You remember? So that has been regularized, that has been taken into consideration. That you have to remember, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So the foundation stage, preparatory stage, multiple stage, middle stage, and secondary stage. That is that. Because previously we are focusing on 16 to 18 years, that now it is 14 to 18 years, that is same as good. But we are focusing on play, discovery, activity, completely activity. That's a primary preparatory stage. Have fun, enjoy the college, enjoy with this thing, activities, and enjoy with the freeness, openness. Because let's have a flexibility, don't need to be rigid, because the guideline has to be very flexible. So that is the reason they have emphasized. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So the 3 years in Anganwadi preschool and 12 years in the school. So that is the current situation which we are having. So instead of a class, it starts from class 6, it starts from age 8. And moreover, now the current policy talks about learning in the mother tongue. That is also the up to class 5. So the early curiosity, because if you remember, if you take any new fruit, I'm not telling you denying, if you take any new fruit or any new food, what you will do, you will not take the new food as a new food. You will try to compare with the old food what you have tasted. You remember? That's the way the system works. I went to Kerala. I took palamburi. I never tasted palamburi as palamburi. I was comparing with the bhaji what I added in Tamil Nadu. I went to Andhra Pradesh. I took peasant dosa. I was thinking that dosa, peasant dosa, comparing with ordinary dosa which is available here. So Karabath in Karnataka, which is equivalent to our upuma in Tamil Nadu. Sambar rice in Tamil Nadu, bisibela badar. Katrika vatakam, it becomes a vangi badar. So our early childhood, because we always try to comprehend the new thing, abstract concepts, by reinforcing it with the mother tongue, or that is the really. Because that's the reason I will tell always, if you want to improve a language, don't watch the movie with subtitle. Watch the movie without subtitle so you can easily comprehend better. So the early education was focusing on curiosity, logical thinking, arts, craft, music, relationship with the nature, because one of the principle of learning. So you have to be with nature, you have to enjoy that, observe from nature. That is a biomimicry we call, how the nature works, because emulate from the nature and make discovery. Several things discovery came from the nature. That Velcro, what you're using, it came from the plants. When you eat some plant, it got stick to your shirt. I don't know how many of them played. We used to play in the school days. A green color, it will be there. If you eat, it will come. So the curiosity, color, shapes, teamwork, play policy, discovery-based learning, ethics, self-identity, equity, behavior, and emotional development. So this is the learning in the formative years that was the focus. And let me focus more on higher education, because we are working on higher education and teacher education and technology in education. These three aspects only at present I am focusing. All my videos revolves around these three things only: higher education, technology in education, and finally we are focusing on the this thing, teacher education. Because if you see the gross enrollment ratio, we want to increase to 50% by year 2035. So we want to allocate 3.5 crore seats, because current gross enrollment ratio is approximately 24% to 26%. But a few states are extremely doing good and they have already reached the gross enrollment ratio. So in such situation, let me take the case study or let me take the success story. I will make it to other institution. That is one aspect which you have to remember. And the current system, it provides very flexibility of holistic undergraduate exit at multiple exit options. This was really good, because Professor Shanmugal sir also might have observed. In your system, I have observed multiple exit option is there. Because I used to see a student, after finishing his basic course and everything, I might have not seen him, and he will come after 1 year and he will join. I don't know what happened, John, where are you there? You told, no, I was gone as a soccer coach, soccer coach. I made some money for my higher education, then I joined the second year. So it is like a repository, academic bank we will call it as, because already we have a national academic depository where the credits or something which will be stored and subsequently you can make it. So 3 to 4 years with the multiple exit options have been made. That is the thing which you have to remember. So MPhil course is completely going to get discontinued. Academic bank of credit will be established to facilitate the transfer of credits. And this is the concept which is going to get moved out. It is a multidisciplinary education research universities. Meru Malay. You remember, multidisciplinary educational research universities, because Meru Malay, because if you see University of Cincinnati, University of Wisconsin-Madison, or any universities, it's all multidisciplinary. Medical will be there, arts will be there, science will be there, engineering will be there, law will be there, liberal arts, everything will be there. That is it. Because since now we are working on a compartmentalized, certain things when we want to work, we are finding it difficult. Let me embrace the concept of working together, not as an isolated packet. Multidisciplinary education research universities at par with IITs and IIMs. So then, similar to the developed country, for example, in US we have National Science Foundation. Similarly, it is an apex body for research for all the funding, unified funding. Whether you do funding on cognitive education, you do funding on any aspect. So unified funding agency. So similarly, in our country, the policy document tells about the formation. Now DST is giving a separate funding, AICT is giving some funding, other Ministry of Earth Science is giving funding, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change is giving some funding, Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation gives some funding. So instead of that, now it will be Unified National Research Foundation, NRF. NRF is going to be created as an apex body for a strong research culture and building research capacity across the higher education. For that, now you might have known already Government of India started a portal known as Vidwan portal has been formed, and where you will be made into scientific knowledge you can share with among others. Vidwan portal is there, that you have to remember, Vidwan portal. And the government of India also brought the plagiarism reduction software program that is known as Shodh Suddhi. For all the higher education institutions, now Urkund is being given. Urkund is given for the faculty members to make use of it. That is also aspect which you have to remember. So Higher Education Institution Commission of India will be set up as a single umbrella excluding medical. Now we have a separate entity, two entities are there, UGCs and AICT. Now they will form Higher Education Commission of India. So public and private university will set a new norms, and what happened, higher education, 4 things, independent verticals will be formed. National Higher Education Regulatory Council, General Education Council for setting education, Higher Education Grant Council for funding, and National Accreditation Council for accreditation. Because that is the 4 independent verticals will be formed under Higher Education Commission of India. So which will have a National Education, Higher Education Regulatory Council, General Education Council, Higher Education Grant Council, and National Accreditation Council. Affiliation of colleges, because if you see in US, there is no affiliation concept. All are small universities will be existing, and some will be multidisciplinary, but some only will be teaching university. Some will be a community colleges where it will be also there. So affiliation concept will be phased out in 15 years. In a mechanism we have to evolve. So every time the college is expected to develop either autonomous college or granting college or constituent college of a university. That is very, very important. So the higher education will be transformed into multidisciplinary universities, rationalized institutional architecture for higher education, because now we call it as a learning spaces. Learning space we are focusing. Learning spaces is a new term which we are using it. What we mean by learning spaces is the education does not take place only in the classroom. It takes place beyond the classroom also. That is the thing which we are focusing, because that is the aspect also focused on the national education policy, because they told it should not be on the classroom alone. It should be on the library, everywhere, in the canteen, everywhere, wherever you go. It has to be the concept of learning spaces, they are calling. The concept of learning spaces. So optimum learning environment, chapter number 12 of the unit number 12 of this thing clearly tells, so that it will develop as a fitness, good health, fit India movement. So phasing out of multidisciplinary affiliated college, multidisciplinary holistic approach, integrated exposure to science, arts, humanities, mathematics, and professional field, undergraduate degree either 3-year or 4-year, certificate after completing 1 year you will get a discipline, diploma after 2 years of study, bachelor degree after 3 years, and B multidisciplinary bachelor program preferred options like in US, like a developed country. Academic bank of credit shall be established, which will digitally store the academic credit, and multidisciplinary education and research and universities will be set up. So if you see the draft policy, the chapter 19 clearly talks about technology in education. Technology in education, that was the focus. Chapter 15 teaching technology in education, but in our final policy 23-24 focus on the technology in education aspect or digital education aspect. So if you see, the focus of this part is to support the teacher education and development, teacher preparation and development, because we have to prepare the teacher to meet the record, improve teaching and evaluation, learning and evaluation process, enhance educational access to disadvantaged groups, streamline education planning, administration and management. Streamline education planning, administration and management. That is the major focus. This is the 4 aspects which is being focused. So first, to prepare your teacher and develop, improve the teaching, learning, evaluation process, enhance educational access to disadvantaged groups, and streamline educational planning, administration and management. So the autonomous body, because other items what has been discussed in the national education policy, forming of the National Educational Technological Program, NTF, because in chapter 19 already they have given formation of National Educational Technological Forum, which will share the free ideas, exchange of ideas. So to promote the concept of FOSSI, free and open source software, that you have to remember. So National Assessment Center, like an NTA, National Testing Agency Assessment Center, PARAC, has been created to assess the students. And it also paves, now we are paving a way for foreign universities to set up a campus in India who are possessing a good ranking. Because I have been to Malaysia and some place where the University of Nottingham campus exists. So they like a franchisee they have opened, but what not franchisee, that's the same system with the Senate everything. But we have to remember the opening of a foreign universities which are under the good ranking, because it gives a good competition, because now Natonal came, PSAT came, but education system has not changed. So now, so the government of India thinks, and it goes top 100 universities in the world will be facilitated to operate in India. Top 100 universities in the world will be facilitated to operate in the India. So gender inclusion fund, now it has been included, because now you know gender budgeting is also there. The Karnataka is the first state to introduce gender budgeting. Now gender budgeting is there. So now gender inclusion fund, special educational zone, special economical zones have been created. What happens sometimes, some education institutions are created in the rural background. They are not finding it that much because the laboratories are far, industries are far, the students are not having exposure. So they are landing in trouble. But some places they are doing performing well. For example, one place where we only know about the famous railway station, where it's a lengthy platform, more than 1.6 kilometers. But there also educational institute exists. But that is a different educational institution. So it is surviving. But when it comes to the private or anyone, if it is the educational institution not at the city of the center, they are finding it difficult. So special education zones will be identified, and National Institute for other languages like Polley, Persian, Prakrit, and Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation to be set up. Because now we want to translate even NPTEL videos. AICTE has given a notification. The teachers who are interested, they can help in translation and preparing. So ultimately, to increase the public investment in education sector to reach the 6% of GDP. Currently, we spend only 4.6. That was the policy document clearly tells. So how the future will be ahead, it is impossible to predict the future with a great accuracy. But there are some radical changes has been brought out in this national education policy, especially with the terms of higher education, in terms of vocational education, in terms of digital education. The things have been brought. So the teacher education, now the teacher universities alone cannot exist, because the chapter 15 clearly talks about establishment of national mission on mentoring. That clearly focus. Chapter 15 and the unit 15 of the policy document clearly talks about in-service continuous professional development. As already the government of India brought the program, annual refresher program in teaching, RPIT program. Now, in how the online training programs could be done, but online training program is going to take a different form, which we are going to discuss. And the national mission on mentoring with a large pool of outstanding senior and retired faculty, how to guide the young faculty, handhold them, and to make the transformation. That is it. It is impossible to predict the future with great accuracy, but the implementation, if you see the timeline, up to 2040 it has been drawn. The ending is long, school education. So now they are planning to frame the curriculum framework for school education, national curriculum framework for teacher education, national professional standards for teachers, assessment for the teachers, even in the local, that is what they are talking about. Primary education need to be made. National testing agency should keep in the view of a linguistic and cultural aspect, the diversity of the country. They have to improve the standard of testing also. Attaining universal provision of quality early childhood development, teacher education, and finally the technical institutions will need to get transformed. The policy wants the comprehensive review. So the National Education Policy 2020 is focusing to improve the efficiency, enrichment, provide the enrichment to the citizen, and to provide enlightenment. That is the major focus which is planning. So NEP wants to hit, and it wants to create the outcome. As I told you, the purpose of this policy or the principle of this policy, as I mentioned in the earlier, the first few slides, I have clearly mentioned it has to provide a rational thought, a good human being, possessing compassion and empathy, with the courage and resilience, with scientific temper and creative imagination, with a sound ethical mooring and value. Sound ethical mooring and value. That was the focus. So whenever anything new things comes, you remember, we have the charm visibility because the technological trigger. We will try to make use of everything. Then peak of inflated expectation. Then comes a trough of delusion. Then comes the slope of enlightenment. Then comes a plateau of productivity. The same thing is going to happen for the national education policy. Now we are trying to, the policy document has been prepared. Now each government organizations have been provided with a target to prepare the implementation document. NITTR Chennai is preparing the national mission on mentoring document. We are preparing, and we want to bring the mentoring of the young teachers with the senior retired teachers so that to transform the educational ecosystem. That is the major focus. So about the policy, let us, I don't know, decoding, it is not the question of fighting, boxing. Let us think what are the aspects. If it is something not in the implementation stage, at least we will take into consideration. We will try to make it. So ultimately, the education system need to grow organically. That is a very much important. So the system need to grow organically. That has to be focused. Now the BVOC is going to come. Vocational education, BVOC already 2003 they made it. So included some programs. We call it as the soft skills. Lok Vidya. All those things have been taken into consideration. So when you listen anything about national education policy from the internet, we remember getting information from the internet is like taking a water from the fire hydrant. Because it is not sensible to take information without verifying the veracity, without knowing the truth. Based on some popular actor, popular personality have told, that doesn't mean that it is correct. Let us have a rational thought, because the fundamental principle of this policy to make a good human being with a rational thought. As a citizen of Tamil Nadu, we are already famous in having a rational thought and philosophies. So let not the question the thing, let me make it how to make it viable. Because Hitler told, if you didn't like the rule, follow the rule, become the leader and change the rule. That is very, very important. So it's not the question of a right or wrong way in policy. It is a question of our future. But we have to remember, I don't know whether I spoke because somebody told you just talk about our national education policy, because generally I speak only on higher education and technology in education alone. More than 6 to 7, 10 minutes video we have developed. So because we talk about technology, what is the formation? Because the technology in education, now the government of India is thinking about disruptive technologies, where we are talking in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, everything. So the disruptive technology becomes a famous focus. So that way we have to remember how this policy could be made. We have to create the spark. That spark need to provide this thing. That is very, very important. I hope this national education policy and this talk will provide something to you so that you will also be happy. But my decision to the question maker, whether we win the race to beat the world. Because South Korea, if you see, or the Germany, Japan, or US, skill development is more. Skilled people are more. In India, the skill is less. We are not focusing on skill. We are focusing on degrees. But how to improve the skill, that is very, very important. That way we have to remember, because in other country, the question of vocational education has transformed. But in our country, we think vocational education means it's a lower level education, or the people with no caliber go to the vocational education. Like that we think. The mindset has to be changed. That has to be there. But let me see, we are slow, but we are steady. So if you have any doubts, further comments, unanswered question, unresolved issues, you can ask me, because Sir told I have to wind up by 11:15 because I have taken more time for you. Sorry. Maybe I just want to, if you have any questions, any doubt, any unresolved issues, any unanswered questions, you can question me to the best of my knowledge. I will try to answer so that I will provide a view. And I express my sincere thanks to the National Engineering College, Kovilpatti, because for their invite and expressing me to share my thoughts and views on national education policy. Let us get connected. If you have any questions, any doubts, or any email, you can just mail me. With this, I just make end to my lecture. If you have any questions or anything, you can just ask me. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your informative address. In the opening, you made a questionnaire session which made us to express our opinion. You explained everything with an illustration. In addition to this, you addressed about human values and principles also. All this made us to understand the new education system till depth. Thank you for your thought-provoking address, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. And some people have asked the question whether it will conserve the endangered tribal languages. Yes, rare languages, which because they want to make a vernacular language as a mode of instruction till 5th standard. So by age 5, so it will really helps us the students to protect. Because last week also I've seen some talk show in the TV where the use of the language is very, very important. Because infusion of other languages, as they were telling very correctly. Now no one is using the word castle. Everyone is telling a check. Because now we become into our own language. Because that is that. Because correct. Because if I go to US or if I go to China, I am trying to learn their languages because because for the past 2 years, every year May, June, I used to go there. But I had a translator, everything, translation equipment, everything. I brought it up because I was trying to learn the language for the course. So that's the reason which you have to remember, and it's good. It will help us to have this thing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay, no question. Then
Thank you.
yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We feel very much happy to welcome our regional coordinator, Dr. G.Janardhanan ma'am, as well as our academic dean of our college, Dr. Tamilchai ma'am, for attending our webinar. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all the faculty, as well as all the heads of our department of our college. Malai, you can continue.
To express our hearty gratitude, I welcome Mr. Anandavel, second year Mechanical Department, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning. I consider it a great privilege to extend the vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have witnessed this event. On considering we have organized this national webinar with the help of our management, I really thank the management of National Engineering College from my bottom of my heart. On this occasion, I would thank G.Janardhanan, M.E Ph.D. USA for gracing this occasion as the chief guest. On behalf of National Service Scheme of National Engineering College, I extend my hearty congratulations to all the participants. I am overwhelmed to express my gratitude to our beloved director, Dr. S. Shanmugavel. Thank you, sir. I am so happy to convey my thanks to our respected principal, Dr. Kalidas Murugavel. Thank you, sir. I am grateful to the programming officers, Mr. J. Tamba and Mr. R. Rahul, for their supportive words of encouragement. Thank you, sir. On behalf of National Service Scheme of National Engineering College, I extend my sincere thanks to all the volunteers to organize this event. Thank you. I thank you one and all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your valuable time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm signing off. Thank you.
Dear participants, kindly give your valuable feedback to our official email ID nss@nec.edu.in. Thank you, Malai Subha. We can wind up.
Okay, sir.